Hello everyone, welcome to Sharmit. In this session, we are going to talk about another very important topic related to MCP file operation. Okay, so mainly we are going to talk about the Python functions or Python methods that will help us to perform the file deletion, right? And why we are discussing these examples, because it will help us when we will be creating some tools, right? And that tool will help us that time this concept will help us to implement the file related operation. So by the end of this session you will be able to understand how to create a tool that can actually delete the file from your system. Okay, so these are the agenda, but before we proceed further with this session, I would like to recommend you to please go and check out the previously released session first, because they all are in proper sequence and sync. So if you follow it sequentially, then it would be much more easier for you to understand the ongoing topic, because for time being we are just mainly focusing on how to delete a file. And prior to that you should know what is server, what is file, and all the things that is related to MCP. Okay, and for that you can also refer the Sharmit digital course book, which is freely available in the description box. There you will find 3800 plus sessions available in both Hindi as well as English language. So without any language barrier you can easily consume the content, and in case if there is any question or queries related to that, feel free to reach out to me through comment section. Okay, alright, so let's see now what all things we have added. But before that, let me create one file, sample file, okay, so that I can delete it. So file, maybe I can write sample1.txt. okay, so I will delete this file. Okay, this is for delete example. Perfect. So now we will write a logic to delete this. So for that, firstly I am importing OS and FastMCP. Now what is FastMCP? FastMCP is just a tool that will help us to create the server, and here I am creating the server MCP FastMCP file delete server. So it will just simply, this is just a name given to the server. It indicates that the file delete server, it's basically its identity. Okay, and after that we are using the decorator, that is MCP tool, and here I am actually telling the program that after that the function that I am using is not a normal function, but it is a tool that will act as a tool. Okay, so what we are doing in this function, here I am just receiving the file name as a string, then we are performing some operation, and then we are returning the output. Okay, so to implement this thing, we are doing the proper error handling. So let's say if in some situation if we try to delete the file which is not even there, so in that case we should handle this, right? So for that we are doing error handling with try and except. Now how we are removing the file? We are just writing os.remove file name, written successfully deleted, and then file name. So whatever name it will receive from the as input parameter from client will be deleted from this os.remove line, and then we will simply show the success message. But in case if there is any failure at any stage of the program execution, then in that case it will throw the message error file name was not found to delete. Okay, so it will just simply return that. So I believe that this server related logic is clear to all of you. Now we'll talk about the next file, that is client file, and there actually we will specify what things we want to delete. Okay, so here initial steps are same, I'm not going to repeat it again. Okay, we are just defining the main function. We are configuring the server parameters with two commands with two arguments, or you can say two parameter. One is command for Python and argument is MCP13 server.py. Then we are using these steps to connect the server. So async with studio client server param as read write, async with client session, read write as session, await session dot initialize, print connection successful. So what basically it will does, it will simply establish a connection between our server and the client file. And after that, actually we are utilizing the tool. So here I'm deleting the notes.txt file. So let me change it to sample1. Okay, because we have created new file sample1, and here also I will write sample1. Perfect. So here we are using await session dot call tool, delete file, argument, file name, sample1.txt. So basically what it does, it will remove this file. It will pass the two parameter, not two actually, we are just telling the delete file method, and then we are passing the file name as sample1.txt. So when whatever output it will return will be stored into this result, and then we are printing it result.content 0.txt. Okay, so yeah, I think this part is clear. Now let's verify quickly. So for that I will run the program, that is python mcp13 underscore client.py. So when I press enter, just look at this file. Okay, sample1, not sample1. When I press enter, okay, so it shows sample1.txt was not found. Okay, why it is not found? Because there are some mistake, I think spelling mistake, maybe here or there. So I'll just change it to, okay, you can see here is a spelling mistake. So I'll make it sample, save, not sample, otherwise it will delete sample. It should be sample1, and then I re-execute. Okay, still, again double S, save. Okay, fine. So now you can see the sample1.py file is removed because of this logic. And we also checked like how error handling is working. So in case if there is any error, it will throw, like if I try to execute this again, there is no sample1 file, so it will show sample1.txt file is not there. Okay, so these are the steps that we can follow for this kind of file operation. And now I think we are done with the all file operation, and from next session again we are going to continue with typical MCP related topic. We'll not focus much on Python because I'm assuming that we all know the Python. We just want to learn the new MCP related thing. Okay, so yeah, that's all for today. See you in the next session with new topics. So thank you for watching Tech Sharmit.